Okay, looks like we are live now. It almost looked like OBS Studio is having some trouble with Dredmor. I wouldn't even have been surprised by it because sometimes, I mean, back in a day, Dredmor, I mean, this game seemed to disagree with, for instance, the Steam overlay. You weren't able to make any screenshots of it. It was, I think, by default, it wasn't possible to record any of it with Fraps, so it didn't. Somehow the two things didn't interact with each other, the game and Fraps, and the Steam overlay and the game itself. So you actually had to add a little extra line to the launch options, I think, to actually make it interact and work with the Steam overlay and Fraps and all that. And just now when I was about to start the stream, the OBS Studio, the program that I use and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people use to stream on Twitch, seemed like it didn't recognize the game, or there was some sort of a weird issue going on that I haven't seen with any of the other two games that I have streamed so far in my brief and rather fresh streaming career, so to say. So, but it looks like it's functioning now, so I'm keeping an eye on the stream just to make sure. I actually started early too, just to make sure that everything is fine and I don't find out that the whole thing is not even working at all. And that's not a good thing to find out in the middle of a stream after like 40 minutes of you talking about the game and trying your best. But everything seems to be working fine now. For now. So yeah, hopefully it will stay that way. I will start the proper gameplay and the proper scheduled streaming in about 5 minutes or 10. This is just to make sure that everything runs smoothly. And also to warm up my voice a little, because I'm like I said, I'm pretty new to streaming. I've done a lot of videos before on YouTube. I've been making videos for years, but those are more of well, there it's easier because you can edit your footage, obviously, and you can also script your content if you want to make sure that you don't make any blunders or mistakes while you're you know, saying stuff. So streaming is a bit different from that. I mean, I'm not too worried. I'm readily available to talk about Dungeons of Dredmor and the Demon Cycle, which will be the topic of this 3-part stream series, which I plan to do and intend to carry out to the best of my abilities. So yeah. We'll see where it goes. I've chosen a couple of fun games for it, so they should work pretty well with a Demon Cycle twist. But I will explain everything when the stream will properly start in a couple of minutes. scheduled start is at 8 p.m. GMT time, so might as well wait. I mean, obviously one should. If they say that the stream or any other sort of event starts at that time, then you shouldn't really start earlier. I'm also planning to make this video available. Oh, we have a visitor, Kokomo. Hi. Welcome to the stream, thanks for joining. So later on these videos, the stream, the whole stream of the 3-day series will be available on YouTube as well. It will be available on my Twitch video section too. Hey Norfie, a lot of familiar faces here. Well, one for now, but it's nice that people are actually joining in to watch, so that's cool. I have a couple of minutes still until I will start the stream, just to make sure that people who want to turn up get a chance to turn up before I start proper. Well, I'm sure. I mean, I wasn't expecting a big turnout anyway. I mean, this is pretty much the first stream that I have advertised to some degree. I don't mean, you know, telling my friends that I will be streaming, more like sharing it on Twitter, sending it to the proper channels, see if anyone who is, well, either interested in Dungeons of Dredmor and the other 2 games that I plan to stream, or if they are interested in, you know, the Demon Cycle books in general. I have sent a message or 2 that way too, so the word has been put out, so we'll see how it goes. Either way, I will enjoy doing this, so that's all I will get out of this. It would be also pretty nice if I didn't suddenly start sneezing for about 15 minutes, as I tend to do. Not very convenient during a stream. You do not know the struggles of streamers until you become one, he said during his 3rd ever stream. Complete beginner. I'll give 4 more minutes to people to turn up and then we'll start proper. While I do that, I am still just admiring all the stuff in the background here of the game itself. Most of this is either enemies that have been put in this DLC, Conquest of the Wizardlands, and there are also a lot of like items that I recognize from the game itself. Like this portal on the left, which is kind of like those Quake portals. If you're not familiar with Dredmor, Dungeons of Dredmor, it is a dungeon crawler, a roguelike dungeon crawler. Sorry. The style is rather humorous. There's a lot of really charming. It's kind of cartoonish, as you can already see. This is pretty much the style of the game itself too. But it is also full of a lot of references to other video games, movies, TV series, literary pieces, all sorts of things. So it's one of my old favorites, really. So mostly because of the reason that I've just said, that you literally find like references in the descriptions of completely normal items like an iron ingot or whatever. I just said something, but it's pretty much true. most of the item descriptions have some sort of a joke or inside joke. A lot of them are inside jokes because of, you know, the references. So there's a lot of stuff that I don't get, but well, I have to admit that it's pretty clever that the developers took the time and the effort to, you know, actually make clever descriptions, like some clever jokes, clever references to other video games or just other titles of other media genres in general. So that's one of the reasons why I like this game. And the other is that, well, it's pretty challenging, especially on the hardest difficulty, which for me, it's now the more standard way to play the game too. Because I have beaten the first two levels, difficulty levels in the game, and since that all I wanted to do from this game, in this game, is to beat it on the hardest level. With permadeath, of course. That's the way I play it. I actually never tried it without permadeath. So, you know, if you die for real, and you have to start over if you die. So you can turn that off if you like, but I have never done, because to me a roguelike is basically that. So you really have to be on your toes to survive and actually beat the game and beat Dredmor at the very end. Well, okay, I think this is about a good time as any to start the proper stream itself. It is 8 PM GMT, plus the 5 minutes that I have added for out of courtesy. So anyway, welcome to Old Nile, meaning the Twitch stream. I am Old Nile, or just Nile for short. And welcome to my day one of a stream series that I have come up with a couple of days ago, more like maybe a week ago. It's a bit difficult to explain, maybe not difficult but lengthy, but I will take the time to explain because to me it's very important. This is a Demon Cycle themed series of streaming. This is okay, so a series of game streams consisting of 3 different days, each of them featuring a different game. And the reason is that for why it's Demon Cycle themed. I mean, I'm not sure how many of you are actually familiar with Demon Cycle, so I might as well start there. The Demon Cycle is a dark fantasy novel series. It currently consists of 4 novels, and the 5th one is about to release. The 5th one is called The Core, which will be released. I'm not sure. Originally, I thought it was October the 3rd when it was supposed to be released, but now, just a day ago, I saw somewhere else that it will be released in late September, actually. So it was September 27th of September. So I'm not sure what to believe anymore. So it will be released in a week or 2. But point is that in order to somehow pay a tribute of some sorts, I decided to do something that I have done before. You know, whenever I play a fantasy game, or well, not necessarily fantasy, but obviously because of the Demon Cycle is a fantasy themed video game, fantasy titles, fantasy video games sort of, you know, match the theme pretty well. But often when I play a fantasy video game, you know, when you get the option of choosing a character and actually making a character that you can customize to greater or lesser degree, I often find myself thinking that, what if I placed a character of the demon cycle in this game. And often it works pretty well. You can pretty much, especially when you can also customize the looks of the character that you're making and will be playing during the game. That's the best effect, but not all the cases. I mean, our current game, for instance, Dungeons of Dredmor, here you don't customize your character, the look of your character, other than, you know, choosing a guy or a girl. I will explain why it's how you can customize your actual character in more detail. But how am I tied to the demon cycle, you might ask? Well, I will try to cut it short because it's a pretty lengthy story that I would gladly tell you, but I'm pretty sure you didn't come here to listen to my life story of how I'm related to the demon cycle. Well, for one, it's a pretty great fantasy series, and I would gladly recommend you to read it, all of the books, and there are a couple of short stories too, so there is a lot already out there in print if you're interested. So like I said, dark fantasy series. My connection to the series was that in 2015, and well, actually before that, more like in 2012, I think that's when I started to look for opportunities to translate, to actually work as a literary translator, you know, translating books, more like so fantasy or sci-fi, you know, trying to think of novels, I guess that's the easiest way to put it. So translating novels from English to my native language, Hungarian. So that's what I was aiming to do after I finished university in 2012, and it took a long time to actually get positive response from any publishing house here in Hungary. And it finally happened in 2013 when one of the local publishing houses contacted me. I have sent emails to maybe, I'm not sure, dozens of publishing houses here. And one of them responded that, hey, we could give you a job, but you should translate maybe a dozen or 20 pages of this book here. Have a look at it. If you're interested, translate the 20 pages, send it back, and we'll see if you're good enough to be employed. So basically they gave me like a trial. And the book was the first part of the demon cycle, The Warded Man, or The Painted Man in some countries it is called. It was a pretty interesting book right from the get-go. Obviously I first started I've read through the first 20 pages. If you're familiar with the series, I'm guessing maybe some of you have read the book, but if not, then basically it was like the warm-up, you know, as you find out more and more about the world. There's, well, one of the protagonists who is a kid at the time, maybe 8 or 10 years old, so fairly young, finds out that there has been some sort of a disaster in the village, of which the outskirts of which they live around. So they live not exactly inside the village proper, but somewhere in the farm area. So the whole family packs up, sits on the horse cart, and they ride into the town. And they find out that there has been a demon attack. I mean, well, they would already know that this is not a surprise to them, but to the readers, it is gradually revealed that there are actual demons in this world, in the world of the demon cycle, which only appear at night, but when they do, they pretty much destroy everything they can. They kill people, animals, so it's just a very bad situation. But the only way to protect against them, to you know, actually ward them off, so to say, is to use well, wards, magical symbols of protection. So basically this is what I found out from this trial, or, you know, the first 20 pages of the book that I had to translate as a trial, and I was pretty interested. So I did the translation, I sent it back to them, and they said after a couple of days that, okay, this is pretty good, how would you feel about translating the whole of the book? And I was like, sure, that would be great, yes. I mean, that was my game, well, not game, aim the whole time. The book itself is fairly lengthy. The Hungarian edition ended up being 660 pages. I mean, the Hungarian edition is a lot bigger than the English one. I mean, not just the first book, all of them, pretty much. I guess it's because of the paper quality, or more like the paper thickness and the, well, just the editing of the text itself. But yeah, it's a pretty lengthy book. Took about 3.5 months for me to translate, but it was very rewarding to do. And after that I did the second book, which was even lengthier, but again, it was really great. I did 2 more books for this publishing house, and after that, well, we stopped not contributing, but like cooperating, so to say. At one point they said that they no longer require my services, so to say. So yeah, it was sad because I was really keen on translating the whole of the series from book 1 to 5 and the, you know, the short stories too. But apparently the publishing house had some other plan, which is unfortunate. I think one series of, I mean, a book series, or I guess it also applies to anything else that has text, so like a TV series, a movie series, anyway. So one particular series should only be translated by one person, because if multiple people work on the same thing, it sort of shows that one book or one part of a TV series or whatever has this particular style, and then the next one, the next translated one, is a little bit different, you know, wording is not exactly the same, especially with fantasy titles where there are a lot of, you know, made up stuff, like in the case of the Demon Cycle, a lot of you know, the names of places, or, you know, the names of the people themselves. A lot of them have, like, you know, these generic vocation related names, like Smith or Weaver. You know, I just said a couple of names there. These aren't even in the books, I think. Maybe Smith is, but I'm not sure. So yeah, you can either translate these names as A or B or C. You know, you can come up with a lot of different variations, and if book A is done by person A and book B is done by a different person, then they might not do things the same way. And I think books deserve a lot more than that. They should be consistent, is all I'm trying to say. And I'm also trying not to go into like a lecture about, you know, translation theory, because this is not why you came here. If you did, I'm really grateful that you are here, but I have to focus on gameplay now. Okay, so basically that's how I'm related to the Demon Cycle. And I still read the books, obviously, books 3 and 4 in English, and hopefully the core itself soon, once it comes out and I purchase it. And I also did a couple of, you know, fan art, you know, just simple illustrations. I mean, I'm not a big artist, I'm sort of like cartoonish. I have a cartoonish style of drawings, but I like drawing every once in a while, and the Demon Cycle inspired me a lot to, you know, actually create stuff in a Demon Cycle theme. I mean, like I said, characters in gaming is one thing, but drawings and, well, there hasn't been anything else so far, but I have done a couple of drawings, and the author, Peter Brett, is a really fan-centered, if that's a word, so he is really approachable, is what I'm trying to say. Whenever you send him like a drawing or a carving of, you know, like a, I don't know, if you suddenly decided to carve you know, these magical symbols in the books, the words, into your guitar, and you send him a picture, then he will most likely share it with the other fans. So he's a cool guy in general, really cool guy. He's currently doing a signing event in the UK, I think. He arrived to the UK maybe a day or two ago, maybe yesterday. So I imagine he has a pretty busy schedule right now. Must be. I actually met him in 2015 when he did the same in Ireland. I met him in Dublin, so that was a cool time. So anyway, that was my mouse suddenly went rogue. Come back here. Okay. So, Dungeons of Dredmor. Now the plan that I had for this game, and to tie the theme of the demon cycle in as well, was that I will try to attempt, well, that's sort of redundant to say, but I will attempt to create a couple of characters in this game that will resemble certain vocations, like jobs, that you might encounter in the demon cycle box. And basically we'll see how good these character builds will fare in a dungeon crawling situation. I mean, I have a couple of good ideas, at least 3, but maybe as I play I will come up with more. If you have any suggestions, if you know the demon cycle and maybe you can think of a character or just a generic job from the books, you can make a suggestion and I will try to, you know, actually figure out how to adapt a character of the game to that idea. So anyway, let's just jump in. Sorry for the lengthy introduction, but I thought it was necessary to explain why I am actually doing this 3-day stream series here and what's the whole thing is with the demon cycle, how am I related. So we are over that, so now we are actually going to start playing the games. Well, one game for now, let's not be greedy. Okay, this is the difficulty settings. Going rogue, like I said before, I always choose this because that's pretty much the only one that I haven't beaten yet. This is easy, medium, hard. These two I have beat multiple times. Maybe easy just once because it was a cakewalk really. Maybe normal, I think maybe I have beaten that one twice. I haven't managed to beat hard difficulty so far, so maybe I'll come up with a build now that will be so powerful. I mean, it's very likely. If a character is inspired by the demon cycle, it is pretty likely to be badass. Okay, permadeath. I always keep this on because for this game being a roguelike, it's like I said before, it's sort of natural to me that you know, if you die proper. There are no save points, no checkpoints, so if you die you have to start over. So it sort of adds that extra tension to the game that I really like in a game like this. I mean, just roguelikes in general. For now, let's just oh, actually no, that's fine. Let's just keep it default. Let's not have the extra 5 dungeon levels. I mean, this probably doesn't really matter right now because I'm not trying to make full playthroughs of different character builds that I come up with, because beating the game with just the standard 10 levels takes, I don't know, at least 10 hours, I would say. In total, I have over 100 hours of this game, 150 maybe, I'm not sure. So yeah, so like I said, just a short burst of every character that I can think of, or maybe if you suggest a couple, then I will try those too. So yeah, this will do, going rogue with permadeath. Alright, now, these are all the skills that you can choose for your character. A good couple of dozen of them. And I was studying them yesterday, had a look at, you know, just to recap to refresh my memory, that I mean, I haven't played this game for a good while, must have been a couple of months at least. But I recapped on the skill options just to see that what sort of teas and vocations I could recreate here and have a go at, you know, dungeon crawling. So let's go for maybe herb gatherer first. Now in the books, herb gatherers are basically your well, they are your healers and alchemists. So they gather various plants from the wild, and they turn them into potions. Basically, if a demon bites a chunk out of your arm or whatever, they perform, you know, the necessary surgery on you. They give you, you know, health, well, quote unquote health potions. It's a gaming influence, I suppose, or poultices, you know. So they fix you up, and they are basically really awesome healers of the demon cycle world. Now, how can we create such a character here? Now, I'm thinking, well, the first couple of skills here are all melee weapon based, well, except obviously archery and thrown weaponry. But I will go with staves. I mean, suppose if you're thinking like classic healer characters who are, well, not unlike mages, then staves is an obvious choice. But if I think of herb gatherer from the demon cycle, I always think of, well, pretty much the first one that you read about in the books, Bruna, the hag, who pretty much walks around with a stick, I mean the staff all the time, and uses that as a weapon when necessary. So if someone doesn't agree with what she has to say, then it's just a thonk on the face or the leg with the staff. So that's an obvious choice. And later on, one of the main protagonists out of the three of the first book, Alicia Paper, I think she also ends up using one, maybe not in the first book, but definitely in the second one, where she has like a staff that has like a glass bulb at the top, which has a bunch of chemicals in it that emits light. So basically it's like a lamp in the darkness. So I think staff is a good choice. Now I will go for thrown weaponry as well, because in the books it happens in a couple of occasions that, well, I mean, it's pretty common actually, now to think of it, that herb gatherers, be it either Bruna or Alicia, they tend to you know, weaponize different sorts of mixed powders, like not even sure. I think that was just the first instance of I can remember was this blinding powder, which was a mixture of pepper and some other spice, and maybe some type of herb as well. So basically, thrown, I guess that counts as thrown weaponry. And later on, they also come up with like a small, not like a canister, more like a little. Well, I can't come up with any other word right now. So a canister of liquid demon fire, which is basically a really, really flammable liquid that's really hard to extinguish once it catches on fire. So that's an obvious choice here. And you can actually create, in Dungeons of Dredmor, you can create different types of thrown bottles that can have a variety of different you know, liquids in them, like poisons, not potions, poisons, acid, or just, you know, like pretty much like what I just explained, this demon fire stuff. So you can pretty much throw a Molotov cocktail at people and profit from it. Okay, so what else could go for a herb gatherer? Let's see here. Fungal arts, that's a good choice. I mean, there aren't any like straight up herbs in the game, but instead of those we have mushrooms in Dredmor, so I think that will work nicely for a herb gatherer build here. And while we are thinking of, you know, potion making and poison making, we can also add alchemy, which these two, fungal arts and alchemy, pretty much go hand in hand, because you can turn sorry, brain freeze. So you can turn mushrooms into potions, poisons, different sorts of alchemical reagents and stuff. So that's an obvious choice. Now, demonologists, this is pretty much the most obvious choice. I mean, I guess I could come up with a character build inspired by the demon cycle that I wouldn't choose demonologist for. I mean, demonologist has a skill that you can unlock maybe on if you spend like 2 or 3 skill points in demonologist, that basically creates a magical circle around you that protects you from, you know, incoming damage. And that's pretty much what the wards do in the demon cycle books. So for instance, whenever, you know, travelers in the night have to camp out in the night, they surround themselves with these portable slates of wood that have these magical protective symbols on them, the wards. And basically, the demons, when they emerge from the ground at night, they can't penetrate this magical circle. So that's how they defend themselves from the demons at night. And that's literally what you can do at level 3, I think, of Demonologist. You cast this protective circle around you, and that pretty much protects you from, well, initially almost everything. Later on, when you meet more powerful enemies, maybe you need a little more than just that protective circle. But early on, this is a really good way to protect yourself. But it only applies until you stay in one place. So if you put this circle down and if you move, then the circle will be cancelled. So that's the trade-off. Okay, we have to choose 2 more skills here. There are really obscure ones, like Bankster. Obviously, herb gatherers are not really about money. Yeah, Dredmor is one of those games where you can become a communist if you want to. That's a skill build. Or you can have Egyptian magic. So these last couple ones don't really apply to a herb gatherer, or just basically any sort of demon cycle inspired character that I could think of. What else? Piracy, not really. Killer vegan. I always love this one, but no, not this time. What else? Maybe one lore. I don't think it will be very spoilery, but eventually, thing is, it has been a while since I've read books 3 and 4, but I think eventually Leisha also uses wands that have a demon bone core. Initially, it wasn't she who did it for the first time in the whole of the series, but I think eventually she learns it and uses it. And, well, actually, yeah, I just remembered that she actually does that. Well, not exactly, not only with wands, but she inserts pieces of demon bone, which are, well, naturally magical, so they have a magical energy in them. That's why they are awesome. So she actually uses, pieces of demon bones to amplify, everyday items and weapons to give them extra power. So I think maybe Von Lore should work here. And one last skill to set us off. Mathemagic, not quite. Could be interesting, but maybe not now. Artful Dodger. She's not exactly a close-up combatant type in the books. which is more like using, you know, the herbs and various thrown poisons and liquid demon fire, that sort of stuff. So Artful Dodger is more like up close stuff, but then again, you can't really avoid going up close to enemies. So obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have the staff skill build here. I mean the skill 3. Master of Arms is more like a tank related stuff, so not really. Flesh smithing. Should it be flesh smithing? I'm not sure. I think that one is related to stuff like resurrecting enemies from the dead and, you know, actually have like zombie minions for you. Not really how I imagine a herb gatherer would work. So Method Magic, I'm not sure what that does actually. I never really used it before, so magic training. But none of my other skills are really magic related, so none of it would benefit much from this. Lay Worker, yeah, that helps with regaining your magic powers, I mean magic points, but like I said, I don't have any magical skills here. Well, other than Demonologist, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll just go with magic training because one of the herb gatherers I mentioned, Lisha, is a bit of a bookworm. I think that's not an understatement, so that should work. Okay, this is what I will go with here. Let's actually start. Let's see, herb gatherer. This is our character. And now we shall enter the dungeons. In ages long past, great heroes bound the Dark Lord Dredmor in the depths of the earth, that his evil would trouble the land nevermore. Alas, the foul-lipped Dredmor proved most devious and patient, for he has been loosening his magical bonds, slowly freeing himself to again spread his evil in the world of light. He must be stopped. Again, this is already kind of like the demon cycle, like a big evil locked up inside, you know, the core of the earth, but it's sort of coming up to the surface again, so we must stop him. That's without much spoilers, that's pretty much the demon cycle. Once more it is time of adventure, of glory. It is time for a hero. Unfortunately, this hero is you. You have been summoned by the king to prove yourself, to save the land and its people, to join the heroes of legend in victory over the dungeons of Dredmor. This is the basic promise of the game. Let's go. Bit of slow loading time, there we go. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what we have to work here. Let's just put up our inventory here, which is this back here. Icons are a little bit small. I mean, you have the option of making them bigger, and I probably will too. I don't know how much you can see if I leave it like this, so it's pretty small, but the descriptions are there. Okay, and the character tab over here, just so that I know my equipment and all of my stats. Actually, this is a little bit too big for me. Okay, what do we have in our inventory? Alchemy box, which will be a very important tool for this build. Portastill, kind of like a little brother to the alchemy box. You can distill like pure alcohol and other stuff that you might need for making potions. Ingot grinder, also pretty much. These are your standard crafting items in the game, like crafting packs, so stuff that you need in order to turn item A and item B into item C. So this is all how you do it. N-dimensional lathe. This is also one of these crafting items. This is what you can use to create wands. So as you can see, your starting equipment is largely influenced by the 7 skills that you choose at the very start. So like, I already have a stick, which is a staff class weapon. I have this because I went for staff skills, obviously. Okay, what else? Dire Sandwich, that's a very big dose of healing. Okay, a couple of wands. Coral wand is used for regeneration. Fiery wand is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, let's see what we have here. This is a starting room here. The way things work in Dungeons of Dredmor is that action is not lifetime, it is turn-based. So if I take a step, the enemy takes a step, and so on. So you have to play tactical most of the time, or more like all the time, to succeed in the Dungeons of Dredmor. And this turn-based thing also applies obviously to healing, so if you are wounded a lot, you can't just fill up all of your health points by a really strong healing item. Like I said, the Dire Sandwich is a strong healing item, but that only means that it will restore 29 health points over pretty much 29 turns. So it will take 29 turns to heal you up fully. Unless you stack different sorts of healing buffs, like the Coral Wand. Okay, let's try and break through this door here. Pretty problematic, I'm already losing some health there. Okay. Oh, there's also already a trap here. Can we... Yeah, that's a pretty low chance of disarming. Disarming and sighting traps is influenced by your related skills, obviously, trap sight and trap affinity. The higher these are, the easier time you have of spotting traps and disarming them. But you can just walk around them. I mean, supposing that there is actually room to walk around them, but you don't necessarily have to, you know, tackle every single obstacle or enemy that you meet. Okay, now this guy is a Sickly Diggle, our first enemy. So let's just throw a couple of Dwarven boomerangs at it. Beaned. Okay, let's hit it a couple of times with the staff. Oh, actually it's pretty strong. Almost half of my health was gone there. Sickly Diggle does, I think, poison damage? I think it is poison. Oh no, toxic. It's right up here. So yeah, that's since I don't really have any resistance, just this single point of toxic resistance, even this guy could have killed me if I didn't know what to do here. So you have to be careful, especially on higher difficulties. Okay, this is a standard Diggle, nothing too bothersome. I also have a lot of crafting items here. Aquavitae, 100% pure alcohol, so that's for potion making. Can we actually make a potion? Let's see. Okay, this is basically all of the stuff, all of the starting recipes that you get at the start of the game, but if you find bookcases in the game, you can actually add more recipes to your crafting library. So this is just a starter, and well, obviously you can't craft all of this because, as you can see, a little number under each of the crafting, how should I say, the crafting results here. As you go down, it will require more and more skill points in alchemy. So you can't craft the strongest stuff straight away, you have to work for it. Well, I don't think I can actually craft anything right now. You can actually check these things to only show stuff that you have the skill for and the ingredients for, which is 0 right now, so that's pretty sad. We can also head over to the ingot grinder. Oh, I can actually turn the aged steak into ground meat, which is great. So aged steak, 3 healing points, and yeah, pretty much. So you can turn it into something more appetizing, basically. I think it actually turned it into 2. I don't think I had ground meat before, and now I have 2. So basically I doubled the healing potential of the aged steak. which is not too bad. Okay, let's fight this Diggle here. Couple of boomerangs. Okay, let's use the wand. There we go. Okay, so yeah, this is the reality of going rogue, the strongest difficulty. Even the weakest enemies, the Diggle is pretty much the weakest enemy of the game, and also like the mascot of Dungeons of Dredmor. Even these guys can kill you without much effort, if you're not careful. Okay, so heal, that's 3 points. I have to take a couple more steps, and yeah, it healed me for... Whoops! Oh, well, this almost took a dark turn here, and almost ended my herb gatherer run. That was a trap that I just stepped on, and it basically erupted into 4 more traps, and I stepped into one. So that was very, very close. If I didn't heal myself just now with the ground meat, this would have been game over. And we would have moved on to our next character, I suppose. Would have been sad, because I'm a little bit short for words right now. This thing surprised me. Caltrops, very devious. So I think this build has potential. Also, this is a very dangerous, very powerful bolt that I could use if I had a crossbow, but I don't. Anyway, it should heal, so let's use something more powerful. The Coral Wand. Your wounds close with unnatural speed. Minor regen, but as you can see, we are almost up to full health with this, so... And again, I'm not sure what's going on. I guess it must have been that I haven't played for such a long time, that I'm just not used to, you know, taking one step at a time. I suppose we can bash it open. Well, I smashed it up good. Destroyed the contents too. Oh, softball. That's a throwing item, so we can benefit from that. Spring-loaded power core, not exactly something that a alchemist would use. If I was a tinkerer, that would be great, but not now. A grungier, however, is a fungus, yeah, a mushroom in more common terms. Yeah, it somehow empowers you with the protective powers of the flannel. Don't ask, it's Dungeons of Dredmor, so that's how it works. Okay, that's a white, and this is the standard look of the white. This guy has some sort of different coloration, which means that it's a special unit. As you can see, it is a monster, is the commander of the Lord Dredmor's 80th company, the War Master of Bookshelf. Okay, this is another thing that the game does. It comes up with these, it has a system of these randomized names. Like, as you can see, this room is called the Immeasurable Bordello of Mandrills. Who knew? Okay, well, this guy is a white, an undead white. So let's try setting it on fire. That worked. I was scared that it would do some sort of weird special attack and would kill me in one hit, so I didn't want to risk it. Let's throw a couple of boomerangs at this other white here. He's not really interested in me, so this works. I can collect at least one of the boomerangs. What are these other funguses here? Oh, fungi, sorry, English, use it. Puffball, I remember this. It gives me puffballs, 3 of them, which is also a throwing weapon, and I think you can use this to confuse your enemies. So basically they forget that you are there for a couple of turns, which can be useful if you're in trouble. Okay, let's pray to Inconsequentia, the goddess of side quests. Let's see. The Monstrous Regiment, Lord Dredmor's 57th company, the Fertile Dwarves, has recently claimed possession of the artifact Blaze the Aeons of Pillars. Too powerful for any man, it must be taken to the Eyeball Shrine and be destroyed. Sure, we can do that. We'll probably run into this 57th company, the Fertile Dwarves, in the next room and complete the quest. Okay, well... Okay, what else? The Greedy Blunge Cap. I think, yeah, this gives you like life-stealing powers, so pretty useful. The concussion bomb, that's nice. Potion of mana, that's good. I mean, I don't really use mana that much right now, but could be useful later on. I have sewer brew, made by the dwarves, apparently. This is what you can use. So alcoholic drinks is what you use to restore your mana. It's magic. And that's it, I think. I also have a couple of acid flasks, which are very potent at killing enemies. And you, if you happen to run into them yourself. Okay, I see gold, more like Zogmids, the currency of the game. And a Danish. A nice healing item. Let's just carefully walk. Oh, that's a good find there. Lost wizard keys. And lively regeneration. I'm pretty bad right now with traps. Could I actually lure this sickly diggle into this trap here? Okay, let's just wait a couple of turns. Will it step into it? Yeah, it didn't. Okay. Thy degree in dungeoneering means nothing. Okay, I've gained some breathing room here. Let's eat the Danish, because I am a little bit poorly on the health. I don't really see a way of luring it into these traps here. But I suppose, well, just rely on the good old fire wand. I mean, using magical wands, that pretty much appears in the Demon Cycle too. Not straight away in the first book, because in the first book people are mostly helpless against the demons. They can only protect themselves with these, just like as I say they're like magical wards on the ground, but these are teleporter platforms. Satanic displacement glyph, as they are called here. So yeah, in the first book, stuff is pretty desperate for humans in general. They can only protect themselves, but they cannot kill the demons. And they don't really fight them, so they just retreat to the cover of the wards in their homes, and they just hope that the magical symbols will, you know, last until the morning. But as the story progresses, you know, people find stuff that, I mean, more powerful wards that actually with which they actually have a chance of fighting demons. Again, no spoilers, but magical like demon bone powered wards actually appear in the books at a later point, so it's not that far from, we are not too far from the books here. This dimensional key bears the mysterious legend, property of Montag the Viking wizard, mad with power, rates astronomical. Click the diamond. Okay, so basically this gives you an alternate dimension that you can use as your bank, basically. So this is this little room, and whatever you put down here will stay here. So say for instance that I don't want all this, you know, this brass mechanism with me all the time. I mean, as an alchemist, I don't really benefit from it anyway. So I can just put it here and it will be here when I come back to the bucket dimension. Spring-loaded power core, same. I can't really turn that into a potion of any quality worth mentioning. Let's just leave these ingredients in this corner for now, because I can't really craft anything out of them. Not yet anyway. I've got some saltpeter here. Anyone with a handful of this is clearly up to no good. Or they are making preserves. In short, no good. Salt. Everyone's favorite condiment. Salt. What I said about the descriptions earlier is pretty good. Also, you can customize the appearance of this little room if you so desire. So if this is more your thing, you can totally do that. But I like the wood. It looks nice. Okay, let's go back to where we were. Okay, what's down this corridor? What I normally do in Dredmor is as I edge towards, you know, the direction where I want to go, I keep the cursor ahead of me. So if, you know, if I spot a trap that's just ahead of me, like just a square ahead, then the tooltip will come up that which will say that there is a trap here, so I have more feedback. Like, you know, this would pop up if I came from this direction, so I would have more warning about the trap being there. Okay, we have lockpicks. That'll be useful for opening chests and doors. We have more powdered aluminum. Powdered aluminum is a strictly controlled substance in Darwin society. I wonder what they do with it. They are probably up to no good. Okay, we got some lutefisk out of this. A traditional Norwegian fish product was invented by the Vikings as an easier way of instilling fear in their enemies than raiding and pillaging. It is traditionally inflicted upon young Norwegians by their grandparents and is described by one famous author as the world's largest chunk of phlegm. Appetizing, to say the least, but it is food, but it's not very strong, as you can see. It only restores 1 health point. Not very potent, but it is worth hanging on to them. It has its uses. Okay, let's throw a couple of boomerangs. Common cave raven. It said they like to rap at doors, but you're skeptical this one could manage a decent rhythm. Reference to Poe, obviously. No. Again, like I said, I wasn't under... what's the word? I wasn't exaggerating when I said that this game is all about references to stuff. And this is why it's awesome. Okay, we have a couple of coins there. I'm pretty far from leveling up. The XP is above the mana bar here, this little orange bar. Of course, if I met with a mini-boss here, that thing would fill up pretty easy. Also, I'm just a little concerned about this noise that I just heard. It says the electro blobby becomes hostile. I guess it stepped into a trap and now it's confused. Now I can craft Gaga's glaze. Obviously it uses a lot of meat and I can improve my armor. It's enchanting. Here it's called encrusting for the sake of originality, I guess. Oh, that's an Amazonian bumblebee person and a little Betty. Good. This is an animal. This is also an animal. As a demonologist, I have a skill of this thing here, Turn Demon, which is useful if you actually meet demons in the game. There are demons, by the way. It's like a enemy type, but these guys are animals, so not really useful. I have to resort to other methods. And that's a vegetable, an evil magic potato, because this is this game. Okay, let's wait. Let's try throwing a puffball here. Yes, this worked. Small damage and confusion to anyone. But I will refrain from stepping into the cloud itself. Everyone just retreated. I'm actually pressing space right now to make the gas go away. But it's a bit slow. Okay, now it's gone. Let's see what we can do. Well, the bumblebee person won't trigger the floor trap here, the gargoyle arrow trap, but the others might. Well, not the bat, but maybe the potato. Could you come over here, potato? Hey, no, that's not fun. Okay. Well, I didn't even give him a chance. Well, let's try eating one of these fungi here, the lunch cap, which will give me life stealing for 20 turns. So let's go and attack a couple of bats here. What was that? Oh, sporification. This is one of the passive skills that you get if you have the fungal art skill build. So whenever you kill an enemy, there's a chance that these spores will appear on them, and that will grow a random fungus after a couple of turns. So basically you can grow mushrooms with killing enemies. Dangerously unstable reactor, which will give awesome damage to range weapons, well, crossbows. You can't enchant thrown weapons, only your crossbow. Okay, this area looks safe. I look at the map for 1 second and I already get this easy target curse here. Okay, let's see what's down here. A blobby. Well, it's not a demon, it's other, apparently. I ran out of the boomerang, so I have to use softballs now to fight the blobby. Fear my martial prowess. I will fear it. Actually, no, it deployed like a field of acid there, so it is not wise to stand in that. Okay. I could buy some food from this dispenser here, but I don't have a lot of food. Also, there's the magic potato again. A different one, obviously. I could buy the steak. Or... basically, it's just a little fun thing to do. It's not exactly... the game itself doesn't explain this, but if you have a random... oh, actually, never mind. We have to defeat this little sickly diggle first. Okay. So the game itself doesn't explain that you can do this, but if you have a random piece of steak, like the aged steak that I had before, or this one, if you put it on the grill, it will become a grilled steak, which is actually a lot more powerful in healing terms. So this is just something that I found out by experimenting. Okay, what sort of trap is this? 45. Oof, it's an exploding dwarven mine. So let's just... oh, okay, this is appealing to me. Let's hit this bat a couple of times there. I haven't found any equipment so far, meaning like armor pieces or a new weapon or rings, or maybe a traffic cone for my helmet, because you have that in this game. Copper wire, okay. So a lot of crafting stuff, a lot of mushrooms and healing items, but I could do with something more protective than a robe that gives me 1 point for dodging, so that's not very effective at dodging slashing damage, for instance. Oh, that was lucky. Would you care stepping into it one more time? There you go. And we have leveled up. What should we level up now? Slime Herder. I am familiar with that one. You can actually summon a slime, a friendly slime, to help you in battle. It's not something herb gatherers can do in the books, but well, by itself it's pretty useful. Maybe I should get to the Celestial Circle. But in order to do that I have to first buy Fervor of the Flagellant. As the beatings continue, your morale improves. Fighting demons has a chance to send you into a righteous focus, enhancing your ability to defeat evil. I think a couple of characters could relate from the demon cycle to this. On the downside, this also really hurts. Okay, let's do that. And if you're idle for a while, your character starts to do some gaming of their own. So that's neat. Okay, let's just leave traps alone for now. And let's get this diggle egg here. It's a food item, but you can turn it into an omelette too, if you have enough of them. An Inky Hog Lantern is... I think that gives you mana regeneration. so not immediately useful for us. Well, not until I get the Celestial Circle, that protective circle that I was talking about earlier. No. Weren't there more Caltrop traps here? Maybe an enemy like spawned here and walked through all of this? The Stiggle is intact, so it wasn't him. I don't have a lot of armor, so even the Deagles make a lot of impact with their little bladed wings. I'm not sure how they even attack me. Okay, let's lockpick this door. There's a Toxic Blobby there. Well, suppose I could use some cooler stuff, since I have them. I mean, obviously this build I won't be playing this through the whole stream, and we're already like an hour in. So let's just flash it up and use something more cool, like this Wand of Transmogrification. Invented in an uncharacteristic fit of venality, this wand was invented by the wizard Moraevic to corner the commodity futures market by transforming living creatures into useful and valuable natural resources. Basically, turn people into crafting items. And, well, they don't immediately die, so it even makes it worse. They actually survive, you know, me turning part of them into mineable materials. Turkey is nice. Native platinum. I don't have an ingot press, so I can't actually turn this stuff into ingots. And we have found a ring, which will increase our mana regen. Could be useful. Let's see. Aha. Remember what I said about the Lutefisk earlier. Lutefisk for the Lutefisk god. You have tithe? I'm not sure, I never pronounced that word before. 0 pieces of Lutefisk. So basically you can donate the Lutefisk that you find to this statue, and if you donate enough, then the statue will break and it will reveal a random item with potentially good stats. Could be an armor piece or a weapon, a ring. So it's worth doing that instead of eating all this slimy Lutefisk yourself. I never had live Lutefisk. Did I just say live fisk? So I never had the Lutefisk, so I cannot judge how it actually tastes like. Okay. Hello, potato. Turn into something useful for me. This is not good. Okay, that's platinum. What is this thing? Rock wand. Not to be confused with the stony wand, this one looks like it was dug up out of a quarry. I am not sure what that does. Well, anyway, I don't want to die, so... Fried potatoes, anyone? Okay, what does the rock one do? Okay, so one of the... Like it said, the rock wand and the stony wand is not the same. The other one, the stony wand, is used to create walls of stone. So if, for instance, you want to block off a section of the dungeon, you can do that. You can create a wall yourself. But apparently this is, maybe this thing drops stones, or more like boulders on your enemies. Let's give it a go. Oh, it actually shoots a boulder at them. I push the bars there a little bit farther back. Let's do that and open this area. Oh, there's like 3 of them in there. I wish I could use that bolt of squid. That's a really awesome weapon. This is a good crowd control wand, because it also pushes them back. They don't really have a chance of attacking you. Also, I forgot that I barely have any health left. Fire it up. I have a lot of charges in that still. Didn't I see... oh, lobster mane, that's good. Gives you some resistance against the standard attacks. Pick up the softball and the nightcap. Oh wait, actually it's the nightcap that gives you mana regen. The hog lantern actually turns you invisible for a couple of turns. Handy. Okay, what is that? Malachite. Used in casting the dwarven microzorkmid. Just what you need. Now you can make your own microzorkmids. I'm not sure what a microzorkmid is. It's probably part of the economy of the world. Okay, let's open this because there's a crossbow in here. Akba the Sufferer of Tapestries. It's like a kid's toy. Adorable, sure, but you may as well just throw the bolts at the bad guys. It is studded with silicon steel. Well, point is, we have a crossbow, so I can use the bolt of squid if the need is dire. Okay, oh, there's a bumblebee person here. Everyone succumbs to the power of the fire wand. Okay, let's use the lever again. Let's see, well, first of all, let's see if there are any traps ahead of me. And second, let's see what's up here. A diggle nest. Here you go, a little bit of acid for you. Could you, thank you, step into that. Dead, okay. 2 diggle eggs here. I am not going to waste the bolt of squid on a single diggle. Would you be so... oh, it just expired. Oh, never mind. Here you go, stand in that. Oh, and Fervor of the Flagellant has triggered. Which happens if you get hit. So basically you get passive boosts for being hit. Which happens quite a lot, so might as well. But it doesn't last very long. Okay, let's just quickly check something here. Okay, found some more sewer brew here. It's a gargoyle trap, so I have to keep an eye out. And actually remember this soundtrack. I mean, not that I wouldn't remember any of them. This one is called Dervish, I think. Game has a pretty cool soundtrack. I always loved it. Now this guy is a problem. We are going to use the coral wand to give me some regen. This flagellant boost actually gives me extra damage. Right now I do righteous damage. Because I am a demon hunter, apparently. As I should be. Couple of candles here. Flicker in the draft. There's another evil magic potato here. We could try the clockwork drill bolts. Originally invented to assist in long-range carpentry, the tragic prototype test results spurred unintended breakthroughs in weapon technologies. Oh, I actually hit the chest. Here you go, this was meant for you. Aqua Fortis. This is some strong sort of water. I have a lot of ingredients now. Crude stone axe, well, that's not very useful for me. There is actually a shop in the game that you can find just randomly somewhere in the dungeon. I mean, not just one shop, there are multiple shops on multiple levels. But like I said, it's random, so sometimes you have to explore quite a bit of the dungeon to actually see a shop. Now this here is a statue of Dredmor. This is well, a statue of the antagonist of the game. So obviously, what do we do with such things? Heroic vandalism, and you get some XP out of it. the XP actually becomes more and more the deeper you go in the dungeons, so it scales. My health is full right now, so let's just collect all this delicious cheese. The game has a lot of cheese, so if you're a gamer and you like cheese, buy Dredmor. You will have a good time. That's a fine linen shirt. That's a tier, well, not a tier above, but it's slightly better than my robe, so I will put that on instead of the robe. It gives me a single point to counter chance. Okay, get the grog. I found a different robe. Good. This, what sort of trap is this? Oh, that's good. Oh, there's a pair of adventuring gloves there. Oh, that's a dwarven IED. I probably don't want to stand next to it when... Never mind. Okay, let's just make sure that I only fight one of these guys at one time. Here you go. I think that's all of them. Okay, where is the other guy? There were two of them. So what killed the other diggle here? I'm a bit confused. Well, never mind. Okay, got some more sewer brew. I could actually turn that into a dwarven gutrot. God only knows how they stomach this stuff, but it's a really strong drink that can restore a lot of mana. Sewer brew only restores 6, and you need to use 2 to have the dwarven gutrot. I will do that. And in turn you can turn the dwarven gutrot into aquavitae, which you can use in turn to create potions if you have the recipes for it. So there you go. That's basically how the crafting works. Oh, and you can actually use the mushroom to create just straight up aquavitae. Can I make a potion? Oh, I could make a potion of mana. I can make aqua regia. It'll do considerably more than rot your teeth if you drink it. Expected, yeah. Okay, oh, there's a lot of loot here. Wow, the clockwork thunderclap. If I was a tinkerer, I could make a pretty strong mace with this. I do like maces, but they are not part of this build here. Okay, how about some acids? Sure, stand in it too. Only helps me. We are very close to dinging again. A zodiacal wand. The motions of these tiny spheres reflects the sky somewhere far above. What's your sign? I think this gives you the astrology buffs, just randomly. This is a double staff. Why use one staff when you can haphazardly use 2 at the same time? Because it's really awkward, one would expect. Yeah, they are just tied together in the middle there for reasons. But it does more damage than my current hefty stick, so it's a good defensive weapon, I suppose. We can use this. More Havarti. Aged cheese, I have that too. Let's have some. There. Breast piping, the grilled steak, another bookshelf, defensive curds. So you can use the cheese to create a protective layer of cheese on your armor, if that's your thing. What does this lever do? Nothing. Maybe I have already pulled it, I'm not sure. Let's get the Pilsner too. Okay, what's this? An empty flask. Oh, that's cool. I need those to create potions. Well, nothing right now, but for instance, I could create a poison flask by using this. Oh, or muscle of cocktails if I had. Well, I have aquavitae. Can't I craft brimstone? Actually, I can use the diggle eggs to create brimstone. I made 2. And now I can create a muscle of cocktail. A potent, nearly portable, maybe? I guess that's supposed to be portable. Portable fiery bomb, don't spill. Okay, I will not. I will throw it. Oh, it actually made me 3, not just 1. Room of gold, very useful. I have quite a bit of Zork mids now, so I can't complain. This is a gargoyle arrow trap. I will leave it be for now. Oh, a room of Lutefisk. I'll just pick it up and then I will lure this blobby into the arrow trap. Well, it didn't work with me. But maybe I can... Well, I'm being cornered, so... Okay, no. There we go. I'm a meddling kid now. Let's see here. Rope charge. You stop sticking the wand in your ear. This is good. You are starting to run out of ears. Well, let's just go for the Celestial Circle, because we're doing Demon Cycle themed stuff here. Now I have a really good protective ring, if the need is dire. Wow, all this acid. There. Make me some grunge here. Okay, we're doing pretty good. Actually, how long have we been? Okay, well, roughly I have an hour in this build. So I think I will cut this build short here and actually go for a different one that might end up being a lot more interesting. I mean, I think this Herb Gatherer build has potential. I mean, there have been a couple of tough spots. That's mostly because I don't really have any defensive skills, like you know, Shield Bearer or what is it? Basically the one that gives you like armor. So you have a lot of different normal damage absorption skills there. But yeah, this one has potential. But just for the sake of, you know, for what we worked for, here is the Ward Circle. This is what you can use to protect yourself from quite a lot of different types of damage, as you can see. And it also heals you, so it's pretty much the best thing ever. And, well, maybe not. I mean, I think I actually fought Dredmor once with this circle, and he had trouble getting through the circle. I mean, his attacks getting through the circle. But I wasn't strong enough. I had good defense, but not very good offense to actually beat Dredmor. So that was the fault there. So anyway, let's just cut this build short here and make a different one. Just in a second here. Okay. Again, going rogue and permadeath without those. I guess I could just leave it there. I didn't even make it through the first level there. Like I said, the game takes a lot of time if you want to be really careful. I mean, on going rogue you have to be careful. And if you really want to see everything and pick up all this stuff you can turn into more useful stuff through crafting, you know, well, you kind of have to. Okay, my other idea, I think this is pretty much what we will have time for today. I probably have time for another hour of streaming. I was thinking that I would create a build based on the Warden Man himself, which will be pretty interesting. It will be a lot different from this Herb Gatherer build. Now, I'm thinking that I will create... Well, I guess it doesn't really matter because, well, the Warden Man, I guess one of the 3 protagonists of the first book, but I mean, he is the title character of the book, so he's a pretty important character, even later on in the story, in the later parts of the series. but he's most well known for killing the demons with his bare hands, because he eventually in the first book he figures out a way. I'm trying not to spoil anything for you if you decide to actually read this series, if you haven't already. So so that's what he does. I mean, he also uses bows and, well, he has all sorts of different weaponry, but most of the time he just uses his bare hands, because that's something that nobody can take from him, you know, his hands and feet. So he's always ready to fight the demons. He doesn't need to, you know, run to, you know, his armory to pick up his shield and spear and whatever. So we'll just go for unarmed combat now. What else should we do here? Artful Dodger sounds pretty good. I actually had a look at it before just to see what it actually gives you, and I liked it. It's very relatable to the, you know, the fighting style of the Warden Man in the books. What else? Should I go for archery? I mean, in the first book he used the bows a lot, so might as well. Let's have, okay, Artful Dodger, that's good. Oh, Psionics. No, not the Mind Probe. Psionics, actually, I had a look at this as well yesterday, and some of the skills that you can get in Psionics is pretty Warden Man-like, so I like that. We can go for that too. What else do we have? Laywalker. I think so, yes. I can't really explain how this relates to the books without spoiling much, but if you have read at least books 1 and 2, you will know what I mean. How you know, this ability of tapping into lines of invisible force in the ground or just in the air around you, how this whole thing is relatable. I mean, related to the Warden Man. So yeah, that's a good choice here. That is where is it? Archaeology. That's a core characteristic of the Warden Man, or even his you know, his previous self. He used to work as a messenger when he was younger, which is pretty much the first half of the first book. Basically, he was well, kind of like not a caravan leader, but he was transporting goods between cities and you know, delivering messages, that sort of stuff. But in his free time, he also tried to look for, you know, like really old places which have been lost because, you know, the demons have taken over everything in the wilderness except, you know, a couple of big cities which are warded, so they are pretty much the only safe havens in the world of the books. I mean, in the first book anyway. So yeah, that's something the Warden Man used to do before he turned into the Warden Man, and I guess it's still part of his character. But yeah, so archaeology, that'll go nicely. And one last thing, well, yeah, has to be demonologist. If anyone, the Warden Man has to be a demonologist. Okay, so this looks pretty good. More combat focused. The Herb Gatherer one was a lot about crafting stuff, which would have worked if I went along with it. I mean, if I continued for a couple more hours, we could have grown into a really powerful Herb Gatherer there, so Warden Man there. But I don't have time for that now, so we will instead grow in this role of the Warden Man. What do we have here for starters? Well, first of all, we start in the Rhombus of Vessels. I have no items in my inventory. That's fairly rare. I have a couple of bolts here on the quick bar, a couple of sewer brews, grated cheese. Why do I? Which skill is related to cheese? I'm not sure. Well, anyway, we have a couple of items to pick up here at least. An aged steak. The Nar wand. Tempered in the cold waters of the Northern Ocean, the Nar wand channels the fury of the skies of Hyperborea. Basically, it's a cold damage wand. It's useful. More cheese, obviously. Oh, the character slot. I have a nice fedora. Not entirely unexpected from an archaeologist skill tree. Fine linen shirt, sure. Flippy floppies. Perfect for the beach or pool, not so much for a dungeon crawling setting. And the smoke crossbow. Like I said, all of your starting equipment is influenced by your 7 chosen skills. Like all of this arrow stuff going on down here. And now we don't actually need to rely on melee weapons because our hands are the melee weapons, and feet, mostly the feet. But I really need to get some physical resistance armor, because even this diggle brought me down to half of my health. Bangisness, the immeasurable pruning. It gives me acid damage, that's very nice, and fire resistance. Good enough. Let's not go over there first. Let's have a look through these doors. Work with me, door. Okay, let's shoot you a couple of times with arrows of pain. Mostly wooden bolts. Best use for practice and for killing vampires, but don't be silly, vampires aren't real. Watch out for salmonella, well, obviously. Open up. Aha, more sewer brew. What is this? Narcosomatic induction. Sleep now. Puts an enemy into a mildly painful, suffocating sleep. Why don't we do that? There you go. Well, it suffered some damage. And now it's asleep, so you can literally explore everything around it. A Cybertronic amulet. Good find, but I'm not a crafter this time. Oh, that's not the same time. Well, let's fight it. Oh, it's strong. Never mind. Abort. I probably should shoot it with a fire arrow. I really don't want to die to a blobby. There. Let's heal ourselves. Okay. Again, I need physical resistance, and well, all kinds of resistances are important in this game. So if you don't have the exact right skill build from the get-go, then you may have trouble at first, but you can get creative with pretty much all possible skill builds. Okay, this gave me explosive, yeah, blasting resistance, that's good. Mana regeneration and some counter chance. Not too bad. We have a common cave raven. Come on, there. You reek of fear and lutefisk. Well, I haven't found any lutefisk yet. Leave me alone. Well, maybe you should leave me alone. Space. No, a little bit of Portal 2 reference there. From Hell's Heart I stab at thee. Fine. So do I. Here. I need an adult help. Well, no one is going to help you here. Let's eat some, well, not the aged steak, just some cheese. And Use one of these wooden bolts. That'll work. Okay, let's get the bolt back. Oh, I probably disarmed the trap. I was looking for the trigger of this gargoyle trap, but it was nowhere around to be found. Let's gather the diggle egg, pull the drop plate. I'm actually better at disarming traps this time around because of the archaeologist skill tree. The first one gives you, which one is that? That's nimbleness, which influences stuff like dodging, sneakiness, yeah, that sort of stuff. And also your trap affinity and trap sight radius. So you have an easier time with traps. You actually spot them from a bigger distance too. And you get XP for disarming them, so it's useful early on. Let's throw a couple of softballs at this bumblebee person. There. This is... I think this is the one I was thinking of earlier. The stony one that can be used to create walls of rock. Pearvine. Come to think of it, I'm pretty thirsty too. Okay, what's through door number 2? A statue of Dredmor for starters. What is this one? Easy target curse trap. Okay, that will help. Here you go. There, okay. Our first piece of Lutefisk for the Lutefisk god. What's with the flippy floppies? I have already 1 and 2 more. I mean, I think the Warded Man wore sandals in the books, but come on, I have 3 now. Okay, at least I have some grilled steak now, so all is good. It's empty. This one also empty. That's a potion of purity. You can drink this by default, but I have, up to this point, haven't figured out what it actually does. I do know that it's a crafting ingredient too. An oil of vitriol. Let's break this. There we go. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Which one shall we take? So I'm thinking of becoming more powerful fighter. The first one is crushing damage, piercing damage, meaning your basic punches. It increases your defense, counter chance, and dodging. Second level is the throwing buffalo technique. Intense training allows you to shove large herd animals with surprising power. This skill has worldly applications to boot. Grants a chance to perform a special knockback attack in melee combat. I like it. So basically you can use this as a powerful knockback if someone is just up in your business and you don't want him to be there, you know, so just knock it out of the way. You can also use it on world objects like cage doors and other stuff if they are in the way, so you can get creative with it. Okay, that will work for now. Traffic cone. I did say that it exists in the game, but the Fedora is a lot more powerful. Bolt Modern, sleek, fresh, the bolt of the future, Bolt Modern. Okay, that's a welcome addition to the arsenal. Let's just put it there, and the wand. And the other wand. The rest will stay here. Now what is this? Bauxite. A grudging source of aluminum. Hello Sigma, ever been to Dredmor before? Yes, if you mean meeting the final boss of the game, yes I have. I have beat the game on easy and normal, twice on normal. I haven't managed to beat Dredmor on going rogue so far. I have reached him, I mean I got to the 10th level and found Dredmor at least 2 times on going rogue, but he always gets the best of me, so yeah, he is challenging on hard. But I guess it has to be possible. I mean, I have seen people do it before, but I guess I just haven't figured out the right build for it yet. I have a really strong one. I think it was actually a different type of Warded Man build. I have done this before, like making characters in the Dungeons of Dredmor based on Demon Cycle characters. So that Warded Man build is a bit different from this, and it was really powerful. So I almost did it that time. Ah yeah, thanks. Okay, so oh, we have B. Arthur here, who will grant us a lot of XP, so I'm just going in ham. Come over here for your final punch, there you go. But Pon's... what? Ponus the Vile Pillar. Okay. A wooden sword. That does explosive damage too, for reasons. There is also the monolith. Okay, let's perform the throwing buffalo technique on the bat. And I punched him into the next room. That's good. It's useful like that, the buffalo technique. What is this? A stuff. This would have been useful like half an hour ago. Nice. Firebolts. That's good. Well, I mean, these are the firebolts that I just fired. No pun intended. Okay, what else do we have behind this door? It's a gnome. Oh, and a crafting room. I was hoping it would have an ingot press as well, but no luck. Oh, well, it disappeared. Okay. Rusty sword, I will take that. If I had one of those grinding items, then I could turn the rusty sword into Pile of Rust, which is an alchemical crafting item. But I mean, then again, not much use to me. Oh, here it is. Disposable ingot press. I can make an iron ingot. I can make aluminum. I can make a deep omelette. Can I? I have 4. Yes, I can. Here you go. 64 health can be regened with this. Very, very powerful. Okay. Room full of enemies. Oh, this is the gnome that teleported. You do know that I'm at least 5 levels higher than you are, right? Doubtful. Oh, you didn't get knocked back, huh? Never mind. Very close to leveling up. Let's check out the mini fridge. I found a potion of healing, that's good. This is lockpicks. And this is an evil magic potato, who I will kick in the face. Twice, there. Bolus. Creations actually used Bolus in the book. Maybe the Warded Man too, I'm not too sure. Maybe not him, but I could imagine him using Bolus, seeing that he has spent some time with creations in the first book. Okay, Gladiator Sandals. That's actually better than the flippy floppies. Mini Gouda cheese. A potato. The humblest of tubers. Oh, 1 sparkling glove. For all your Michael Jackson needs. No, I will not touch that. That's a little bit too difficult. Crude blade trap. Well, now. Oh, acid and pool bolt. Useful for me. Mazarp, the Sufferer of Suns. Okay, I do know this type of room. If I pick this up, enemies will spawn, so... And it's a maze, so not really useful to me. But then again, the Archaeologist build has a skill. This one, it belongs in the museum. By this you can use on you know, unique items like this one, you know, stuff that has a random name like this mace here. And the more powerful this item is, the more XP you can get for it. So basically you can turn these unique items in for XP if you use this Archaeologist skill, which is pretty great. You can gain a lot of levels with this method. Just doing a bit of inventory management here. Okay, we have... Oh, I close it there. Fairy Watcher, regeneration, powers, aged cheese, nothing. The odious puffball. Let's just have it with me. Okay. Some more sewer brew. Traps. Barrel empty. Okay. I guess we are done in this part. I will not tangle with this unfriendly AI, mostly because it's I think it has strong armor, so if you don't have any special type of damage with your weapons, or if you don't do just a lot of standard damage like crushing, slashing, piercing, then you don't have a lot of chance against an AI, an unfriendly AI enemy at this level that I'm currently on right now. I actually didn't pick up that mace, have I? Do I have unique items here? Actually do. Well, let's do that then. Let's increase the Archaeologist potential of the Warden Man here. And now, using this skill, I can turn this wooden sword into XP. Yes. I got roughly 35 XP. Not too bad. I think I'll just head back and see what I would get for that mace. I'm a little bit concerned about the enemies which may appear here, but I have a couple of aces up my sleeve, so... Okay, I have it now. Oh, just gnomes. Okay, let's do this. Oh wow, that worked very nicely. I forgot that it's an AoE attack, not just a... Oh, something else just exploded there. A lot of fun is occurring in the next room. Okay, so this was a group of gnomes, but these groups usually work in a way that if you kill their commander, the rest of them will flee from you for a couple of turns. So you can get a bit of a breather if you actually get a chance to kill their commander first. Okay. Plastic ingot. Adventuring gloves. Well, this one sparkling glove gives me a higher chance of reflecting enemy magical attacks back at their, sender. Drink from the fountain. Always drink. This foul, you feel sick. Well, lingering weakness. It decreases my max health points by 1, so it's not that bad. And it will wear off eventually. Okay, let's just make these ravens. I mean, one of them go to sleep. There was actually a bunch of them. Okay, buffalo kick. Not very powerful enemies. Okay, let's just leave it at that. Acid sprayer, not a very good mine to trigger randomly. Oh, hello, inconsequential. You must use the item Ispoa, the dance of radishes on the monolith. At least I know where the monolith is. Only then can Lord Dredmor's servant Tvikrazuk, the host of elves, be summoned and defeated. Okay. Okay, so I actually got the item, so if I put this on the monolith, then this mini-boss will spawn. And if I defeat it, I will complete the side quest. I'm just thinking about the options here. Do we have any leftover mines? I've passed a couple here, haven't I? Or maybe they have exploded already. But there is one here. But what sort of mine is this? Acid sprayer. Well, I'm thinking of maybe luring this enemy, I'm not sure what it will be, into traps. Let's just see. It's a genie. Okay, well, good thing I have this one sparkling glove of protection. Is it a demon? It is a demon. I can finally use this skill. It actually sets demons on fire and knocks them back to, makes them flee, so it's useful. I can do like a war of attrition here, slowly wearing this demon down. There it is. Okay, I probably should actually press the advantage and use the power of Hyperborea to defeat this guy. Works really nice. How do you react to acid? That didn't touch the demon. How about I send you to sleep? That didn't work, okay. You are not a very easy customer. Let's just do it again. And my reward is Loki the Insignificant Natures. Didn't get a lot of XP out of you, but that's fine. Okay, this only gives you sneaking. I don't do a lot of sneaking as the Warden Man, so let's just send it to the museum then. Didn't I have something else that also has a unique... Oh yeah, I did. But I have to wait until the cooldown on this skill completes. Okay, let's see what's down here. Another raven. Propaganda poster. That's obviously me. The unnecessarily thick eyebrows give it away. Okay, that's a trap. Dwarven ID. Hello, where did you come from? Okay. Buffalo kick. Excellent. Just be careful not to step into any mines here. There's one more here. Well, someone triggered it. Well, didn't have to do much here. Sometimes creatures just get killed on their own. This is the reality of the dungeons of Dredmor. Okay, buffalo kick on you. That was blocked for the most part. Let's set it on fire then. Very nice. Let's kill the Diggle with some old-fashioned wooden bolts. Now we have a couple of recipes here, which would be nice. I mean, look at this shield here, Clockwork Deflector. Which would be nice if I was a crafter. I mean, I could imagine giving a Warded Man build either tinkering or smithing. I mean, the Warded Man, well, while being handy with, you know, creating these magical symbols, He's pretty much the best in the world in the first book. There are a couple of references as well as, you know, him being able to, you know, create weapons like spears and such. And obviously as a warder, he also, you know, works with different types of materials: wood, glass, metal, rock. So I would assume he would be capable of, you know, actually creating items. I'm just waiting for this fire to wear off. So I guess he could work as a tinkerer slash smith as well, if I wanted to replace one of these skills with a crafting skill, so that I could create equipment of my own if I don't have the ones that I really need. I mean, I obviously don't need weapons as a unarmed combatant, but better armor would be pretty nice. Oh, this doesn't actually damage me. Clockwork actuators. Nice. Would be nice to find one of those, but not very likely on the starting level. There we go. Okay, buffalo kick. Put up a fight. Alright. I can actually use the skill on this mace here. Quite a bit of XP for this one. Tesla's bolt. Invented by the wizard Tesla, these bolts shocked the crossbowing world upon their introduction. Not unexpected. What does this do? Well, nothing very obvious. An apple. It keeps those creepy doctors away. Okay, well, this fountain is in the way, but I have a way around that. You feel like a prince. You are imbued with regal whim, which gives you 12 extra health for, well, if you get hit 5 times, then this will be cancelled. This is how it works. This is a test of the emergency dungeon warning system. This is only a test. Had this been a real emergency, you would be dead now. Good. Alright. Ha, bumblebee person. Let's surprise it with a buffalo kick. I breathe defiance. So do I. There you go. Potion of healing. Let's go up here. Okay. Well, if I break this barrel, they will have a way of getting to me. But I have my throwing buffalo skill too, so there you go. Not angry. Enraged diggles are a little bit sturdier than the standard diggles. And they have a chance of entering a frenzy of sorts. Oh, okay, never mind, this guy almost killed me here. I don't want to use buffalo because apparently it doesn't always knock the enemies back. I'm not sure how that works. Okay, probably time for a potion of healing here. Oh, actually, yeah, I forgot. This is the only item in the game, I think, that can instantly restore a big bunch of your health. Unlike, you know, just giving you a regen. Also, you may have noticed the classic Doom styled icon here that reflects your health. I always found that cool. Oh, nice find. The Anvil of Krong. If you put an item, like an armor piece or a weapon, or a ring too, or a crossbow, so either any of these things here that goes here, you have a chance of actually giving it extra properties, or increased damage, increased resistances, or something completely unexpected. Or you have the chance of doing the opposite. Most of the time it's actually works for you. Let's try it with the fedora. Okay, we got... That is Asphyxiation damage. Asphyxiative damage is very hard to spell and is inflicted upon your opponent when your attack suddenly causes them to stop breathing. This is usually accomplished by removing air from the room and replacing it with gas, cabbage scents, or noxious cologne. It is not affected by your opponent's armor. Yes. Okay, so now my Fedora grants me this power for whatever reason. It is the power of Krong. Alright, let's head back this way. Just be careful need to look out for traps. Okay, I sorted out the monolith guy, the genie. Oh, where did you come from? Wow, that was brutal. I think I need to use... But where are these diggles coming from? There. I'm not complaining, I like the experience, but it's just weird. Okay, let's kick this table out of the way here. One of the other uses of the the throwing buffalo skill. Something is in the way, you can just kick it out of the way. Okay, I see a bookshelf and a couple of enemies. Set the gnome on fire. And the crow, or raven, sorry. Asgardian Stormhammer. Wish I could have that. Another gnome and more books. We could lure this little gnome into death. Oh, actually, the bolt thrower, the gargoyle, is blocked by the bookshelves, which also means that I can safely words. Let's try and use them. But I can safely disarm them without the bolts actually hitting me if I fail. Molten orb, nice. Magnetronic plate armor. I find all these cool crafting items, crafting recipes, and I don't get the chance to actually crafting them. The fourth flippy floppy, what even? This is like a weird subplot for one of the short stories. The warden man found a bunch of flippy floppies in one of the ruins during his travels, and it became like a big mystery of how ancient Teasan culture used flippy floppies for some weird occult reason. Like maybe a bunch of cultists who actually revered the demons instead of, being afraid of them. Okay, here we go. Well, I don't really need food, I have a lot of it. Scalding steam mine, I will just leave it there. It's sort of almost invisible there behind the dispenser. This is a little mystical graffiti. If I had the key to the bucket dimension, I could enter this little password to the portal at the top of the room, and it would get me into a little sub-dungeon, let's just call it that. And if you go through the dungeon, it's a really short little section, then you get a special item, one of these random named items. I have a lot of items, I really need a shop. Chalk. More chalk. Leveled up. Your princess is in another castle. What do we have? What should we go for? Psychokinetic shove. Uses violent force to push a mass of enemies and other things away from you. Which is basically an alternate for the buffalo kick. Or not kick, buffalo technique. But demonologist it is. Let's be more potent at that. Sure. That's broken. Malachite. I really need a shop. Wow, I can even kick portals away. I wonder if you kick a magical portal like this away, does it stay the same? Would it take you somewhere else? Would it break the connection between the two portals? Oh, Belt of Champions. Well, the Uber chest is currently closed. Up to this day, after like 150 hours of playing this game, which mostly happened like 5 years ago, I couldn't really figure out what opened the Uber chest. I don't think they are connected to levers. The best idea I have for what the opening mechanism is that if you kill enough enemies in the surrounding area, then it will just open randomly. I'm not sure. I guess I could look up on Wikipedia, obviously, but where's the fun in that? I like the mystery of the game. You have to experiment for yourself. Drink, of course. Shiny penny in the fountain. For a while, all you touch turns to gold. Well, bits of your enemies at least. The Makwa Huitl. Forged in the maw of a volcano, this sword is edged with obsidian prismatic blades. Very nice. If I was a sword user now, I would be very satisfied with this find. Wow, that looks painful. Empty flask, well I need an empty bag, not an empty flask. I have so much stuff on me. Okay, well, another Dredmor statue there. Broken barrel. And more grog. And that's where the Scalding Steam mine is, good thing I remember. Raven. That was a short discussion. Okay, yes. The Mudven. Strangely resistant to transmutative energies. I think this is one of the few mushrooms that you shouldn't really eat, because this is what you can use to turn into a poison flask. Again, I can't really do it now, but if the Herb Gatherer build was here, I could just use a flask and a Mudven to create a poison bottle, which has its use as a Woodman's axe. And yeah, if I was a cutter, any of the cutters, Garrett, Wanda, or any other of their relatives, I would be very happy indeed for this nice find. Practical axe suitable for everyday hacking and hewing. I can't even pick up anything now, I'm full. Oh, another Anvil of Krong. Let's make the fedora even more awesome. Now it has resistance against voltaic, so shocking energy. This is the best fedora ever, and we are not even near the end of the dungeon, meaning the 10 levels. There might be many more Anvils of Krong. Okay, I think, yeah, this will do. So yeah, this build also seems very potent. It is more combat focused, less so on crafting, which is sad because I found a lot of stuff I could turn into craft into more powerful items. And I also found a couple of nice crafting recipes. But this build can't really utilize any of this knowledge and resources, so we just have to rely on good skills here to survive, and just luck of finding more powerful armor. I'm still very, I was still very bare here. I have a powerful fedora, a normal fine linen shirt and gladiator sandals, and the one sparkling glove. Let's not forget about the one sparkling glove, and 2 rings and the crossbow. Pants, not even. Don't have pants. Not even a loincloth. Not even a loincloth. Here. But yeah, I like this build. And the herb gatherer one seemed pretty good too. Both of them actually. There were a couple of close spots, but I have experience in getting out of tough situations in this game. So it went all well in the end. So yeah, I think I will stop day 1 of the Core Anticipation Gaming Stream series, the full title of this little event series that I come up with. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you were here, I interacted with a couple of people here, so I'm really grateful that you took your time and spent some of that time here on the stream. I will continue on Wednesday, same time, same place, obviously, with day 2 of the series, which will feature Dragon's Dogma, which is a pretty interesting third-person fantasy, well, adventure game. Well, it's an RPG, but it's a pretty unique one, and I love it. It will that day will focus on the what title did I give it a couple of days ago? Well, basically the combat efficiency of the archer herb gatherer pair. How these two different, well, vocations can work together in a combat situation, which will be pretty interesting indeed. So again, thank you for joining me, and if you if you haven't lost your will to live through watching all of this, maybe you found my voice a little bit too monotonous or my accent a little bit weird, it's completely justified. I will not hold it against you if you do. But if you found this interesting, then I will look forward to seeing you on the stream on Wednesday, and on next Sunday, I think that will be day 3, which will feature Mountain Blade Warband, and will feature such topics. Well, it will mainly be about the practical side of conquering the Greenlands. Probably not a big spoiler that it will be featuring Aman Jardir, the Shardamaka himself, and his conquest of the Greenlands, of course. So looking forward to these 2 other days of this streaming series. Okay, I have been Old Nile. You can find me on Twitter at Old Nile Depot. Same applies to YouTube, youtube.com/oldniledepot. My Twitch is old_Nile, but if you are here, you already know this. So these are the places where you can find me. PM me, I'm approachable if you have questions. And again, for the 3rd time, thank you for joining me. And just one more thing, I will try. I'm pretty sure there's a method for it, but I will probably upload this full stream to my YouTube channel as well, and you will be able to access it on my Twitch video gallery. I'm not sure what it's actually called, the videos section, for maybe a week or so. I think it stays up there for like a week. So if you want to rewatch this, or if you haven't seen all of it, then you can look it up. Look up the wall of the video either here on Twitch on the video section, or on my YouTube, youtube.com/oldniledepot. So these are your 2 options. Okay, well, good night everyone. Thank you for joining me for the fourth time. And I will see you on Wednesday from 8 p.m. GMT. See you!